Okay, so the past two times we've done this, we did lists and didn't cover anything that was going on in Hollywood.
Oh God.
But you know what?
When is
It was good to take a break from all like the
you're right.
bullshit.
I mean, there's always something going on in Hollywood. Hollywood.
Word, whatever.
Wood.
It's all the same to
Whatever.
me.
You're right.
It's like Hollyweed.
Which isn't wrong either.
Yeah, it really isn't. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, we'll go over like talk about like post Oscars show and basically do what I think a lot of people were doing at the time. It was like comparing it to like a it was like going to the morgue. You open up one of the drawers and you look at the body and figured out what killed it. So we're doing our post mortem of the Oscars, but we can get to that later. But some like news stuff about Hollywood and some things, may potentially be cool, and then some, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't done that in the last two times we've done it, so because we were focused on lists. So in spite of the Oscars, we also have the Razzies, which are you familiar with the Razzies?
No, the Razzies?
Really? The Razzies are the worst movies. It's basically like all the worst movies that came out in a certain year. The Razzie Awards are for the worst movies.
The Raspberry Award.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've never heard of this.
Oh my God, it's
award show.
every year. So like the Oscars are for the best ones, and well, quote unquote the best, and the Razzies are for the worst ones. And yeah, like I think one of the most funniest ones was did you ever see the Halle Berry Catwoman movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cartoon.
Oof. Wow.
I'm not gonna opinionate, but you know what I mean.
Well, whatever. But that movie won a bunch of awards on the Razzies, including Worst Actress that went to Halle Berry. But Halle Berry the previous year won an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually went to the Razzie Awards and accepted the Razzie, and she brought her Oscar.
What the hell?
Yes. Yeah. She's just that cool that she will literally just get up there and with her Oscar and just go like, thank you so much to the Razzies for nominating me, for having me win this stupid award. And yeah, she's like, I want to thank Warner Brothers for putting me in a crap film. Like, yeah, like she just totally was just like down to earth and just like, you know what, I don't care.
I mean, listen.
And that's awesome.
To win an award, any type of award, down to a crappy award, is something else too, Like, not everybody can win a Razzie Award too.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like the last movie that basically swept, and the reason why I bring this up is because there's a certain film that came out last year that I really hate how we keep bringing it up, was that Winnie the Pooh movie that basically swept the Razzies. It won almost every single award, including Worst Picture of the Year. And
I think I got offended for that. They didn't get offended.
A movie that basically sweeps the Razzies. The only other movie that did that, I think, was Jack and Jill, which, is fine.
I have my own opinion on Jack and Jill. I will not say what my opinion is on the discussion that I do not want to fight with you about Jack and Jill. Anyways.
Oh, no. Hang on. This is the worst stuff, not the best stuff.
Oh, my God. I didn't say give him a Grammy. I just said it wasn't that bad of a movie. But okay. Anyways, go ahead. Wow, it did win, like, 5 awards.
Yeah, because it's, a hunk of shit. Moving on. But I bring up the Razzies because the director says, quote, "I'm surprised our micro-budget film is being compared to Hollywood, but nevertheless, I don't mind the honor as it places me in the same pool as directors whose work I admire so much." Okay. I'm surprised our micro-budget film is being compared to Hollywood. Dude, if everybody starts talking about your movie, you're technically stepping into Hollywood. And if you are trying to make a movie that you're selling to the masses, you're stepping into Hollywood. It's a small part, but you're kind of stepping into Hollywood. And, the fact that your movie is basically a, steaming pile of shit, and yet you don't care, and yet you're making another one. And even today, this was announced. Bambi, Tinkerbell, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Tigger, Piglet, the Mad Hatter, and Sleeping Beauty will all unite in a horror team-up movie called Pooniverse Monsters Assemble. Think of fairy tale creatures fucked up, but in an Avengers kind of way. That was just announced today.
Okay.
Yeah. And they don't care. They're just like, "Oh, no, we're just doing it." And I'm like, so you didn't hear any of the criticisms nor anything? Okay. Like, get out of here. These people need to, like, yeah, I don't know. Fill in the blank. Like, it's so bad. But yeah, the Razzies, that's what they are, is the worst movies of the year.
If they keep making movies, these guys, the Winnie the Pooh guys, they're gonna keep winning every year. I don't know what to tell you. There's gonna be nothing else for anybody else.
Yeah, and yet people keep putting them on like the worst of lists, like we did, and everyone keep bashing it, saying it's a hunk of crap, which it is, but they don't care. It reminds me very much of you probably don't know it, but there's this director out there named Uwe Boll, who did like he's notorious for making the video game movies back in like the 90s and 2000s that are just god awful. Like he did like a House of the Dead one, which was based on that arcade shooter zombie game.
Right.
He did a Alone in the Dark one, which is based on the video game from I think the 90s, maybe the 80s. There was another one. There's a couple other ones, but they're all terrible. And everyone keeps saying, "Yeah, these movies suck," and the guy just goes, "Well, I don't care." He's actually asked people who hate him if they can fight him, like in a boxing match.
What the hell?
Yes. Yeah. Like he will box people who disagree with him. And I'm just like, wow, you're just an enormous prick.
Okay, like he doesn't have to have a big old ego because he made a really bad movie. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, one thing is to make like a decent movie and like trying to like defend your decent movie. He made an absolute horror shithole that doesn't deserve to even win a Razzie. Like that's how much it should have been ignored. He should be lucky he even got nominated for that thing. But I mean, I'm just saying, like trying to fight people because they don't like your movie is on par with like, I don't know, trying to defend yourself from allegations in Hollywood. It's like they're gonna come out anyways, bro. Just admit that you did something. Like, I don't know.
Wow. That's like saying like you weren't guilty for saying an N-word joke, and then immediately after you were said not guilty, you say another one.
Oh my god!
It's like you never learned.
I don't know. The fact that he's trying to like It'd be funny if they were parody movies. Not Winnie the Pooh wouldn't be funny. That's just like a whole nother like.
You mean basically like on a scary movie level where they're just like
Yeah.
parodies?
Yes, and I'm pretty sure you've seen those parody movies of other movies like Pride and Prejudice, but it's zombie.
Oh, you know what? I prefer that movie over the actual Pride and Prejudice.
I've never seen the real one. I've seen the zombie one. I thought it was hilarious.
It is hilarious.
And then
Okay,
the Hunger Games, actually, like the Hunger Games. I forgot which movie. They're all on YouTube. I know they're all on YouTube. All those movies are on YouTube. But they're all like parodies of like real movies. And I'm like, that's funny. That's great.
Well,
you know.
Well, the difference between like the parody movies, like like Scary Movie, or I think it was the Starving Games. I think is what you were talking about, or like the date movie, epic movie, disaster movie. Which after a certain time, those got real old, like real fast, and we're just like, these aren't funny anymore. Nobody cares. But with like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and hell, I throw Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which if you haven't seen that,
okay,
have you seen that one?
I have.
that basically it takes something like like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It takes the actual story of Pride and Prejudice, and they just throw zombies into it. It's pretty much the same story. It's just they said, "Fuck it, let's throw zombies in here and just make it fun." And that's what it was. In fact, after I watched it, I was I think it was my dad. He showed it to me, and he had the physical copy of it. We watched like some of the interviews and the extras, and a lot of the actors said yes to it because they threw the zombies thing in it. Like they said, their agents came to them and said, "Oh, there's this Pride and Prejudice movie they're doing. I don't want to do that with zombies. I'll do it."
Oh yeah, who wouldn't want to do that?
And then with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, man, if that was real history, I would love this country more if that was real.
Oh, I would too. I would 100% do.
I mean, what's even funnier? I saw this review for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and they said, "Why don't we just change everything when it comes to history? Like, why can't we just get like George Washington Carver, who was he was I think he was involved with peanuts. It's like, what if George Washington Carver killed werewolves with peanuts?
What the hell? Okay,
like, can we just do that, please, and just make it hilarious?
I mean, that would be funny, to be honest.
Like, can we just do that, please? Well, and then it's like what Family Guy said, or like they did. There was like a certain like part where I think they were talking about guns, and they said like, "Did you know that in the Bible, I think it was Jesus and Moses, they like struck down like the army, and then they did a traumatization, and both Jesus and Moses had guns."
Oh my god!
And I'm just like, man, if somebody made a movie of that, I would watch it.
I mean, there are plenty of funny sacrilegious movies that, okay, it's not sacrilegious, but like in terms, it could be considered sacrilegious. But honestly, anything for the word, bro. Like, I feel like if you dramatize the whole thing, people will find it funny and somehow find their way. I don't know. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Moses and Jesus with the gun? I feel like they would fight it out really nicely. Yeah. I don't know if there was guns in that time era, but who knows?
Well, but yeah, it was like the difference between parody stuff. Like with those kind of movies, they pull a Quentin Tarantino and just change history. But what they do is they change history and just say, you know what? Let's just put like a ridiculous stamp on it and just make it fun. Where like with Quentin Tarantino, he changes history and just goes along with it and makes it all serious. And it's just like, this is just goofy at times.
At times.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So, but yeah, so when it comes to like those, I guess the Pooniverse, which is just dog shit if you ask me.
Kill me.
It's literal poo if you ask me. it's something that a lot of movies, and well, not just movies, but just a lot of what Hollywood is doing nowadays is they're trying to take stuff and put it in and make them into universes when they don't.
Which is it's not working.
Yeah, it's like, really, do we need to see a universe of this? Like, okay, like for example, you have the MCU, you have the new DCU, but we also talked about it. I think I forget who brought it up. The Tom Cruise Mummy movie that was supposed to start a universe, and
I feel like you mentioned it.
Yeah,
but we didn't really go into it. Yeah,
that was supposed to start a universe, but that thing was crowbarred together. Now we have this stupid, I guess, fairy tale horror thing, I guess, whatever they want to do with it. They have that, and they're now making that a universe. And did you see anything about the upcoming Borderlands movie?
I did see that.
They're planning to make that a universe.
Mm,
It's like, no,
why?
stop that. Just stop that. It's, even like the MCU, like it started out with Iron Man, they really weren't trying to make it a universe at that point, because they were like, okay, let's take it one step at a time, and if this works, we're able to continue this. If it doesn't, well, we tried. I mean, people are going to get pissed off, but we tried. And it was able to succeed because they actually did their homework. They actually were making good movies at that point. Mm-hmm. So they said, hey, we can actually do this. And then DC saw it and said, hey, let's do that. But, let's not put all the time into working on the homework. And let's just kind of like take some exit polls at times. Not all the movies to me. But then there's just movies that's just like, oh, we're going to set this up as a universe. Like, don't do that, because what if it bombs on the first movie, and then you're just going to continue to do it and nobody wants it anymore?
Now you're just wasting money, in my opinion. But
welcome to Hollywood, where it's pretty much just making money.
Fair enough.
Yep. So just, and actually, speaking of Marvel, this came out a couple days ago, that Marvel Studios is reportedly trying to take less risks and focusing on more guaranteed hits. So movies like Captain Marvel 3 or Ant-Man 4 won't happen.
It took them that long to figure that out?
Okay, here's my 2 cents about it. So movies like Captain Marvel 3 or Ant-Man 4 won't happen. It's not necessarily that those were risky. I mean, okay, they were to a certain extent. I would throw mainly Ant-Man in there, because you're going like, okay, you're giving me, you have to try to make me care about this character whose ability is to turn small and basically be like an ant. Yeah, good luck. And I think, at least with the first one, because it was still kind of Edgar Wright, they pulled it off to some extent, because I think they used some of what Edgar Wright wrote, but then just said, you know what, let's make it more tied to the universe, because that's what I heard what happened, is that Edgar Wright's version was actually more separated from the universe, and they wanted it to be more included. And he's just like, nope, then I'm walking off. And that's what happened. But, but I don't necessarily think that a lot of the time what they're doing is risky. It's just the way they're doing it. It's very just kind of stupid. I mean, if you really think about it, Ant-Man 3, Kang the Conqueror, this hugely powerful villain in the Marvel Universe, gets his ass kicked by Ant-Man?
No.
Like, really? Like, that's just, that's degrading.
It really is, because Kang in the Marvel, comics is considered one of the biggest villains, because he can fucking, you could just go into another fucking universe if you wanted to, mid-fight. You can never find him again.
Yep.
You know, so the fact that he got his ass kicked by Ant-Man is so...
And plus that was the start of Phase 5. It's like, this is not a good start.
It really isn't, because King shouldn't have gotten his ass kicked. If anything, Ant-Man should have gotten his ass kicked and stayed inside Quantumania, and then we should have never seen Ant-Man again. You know?
Well,
I understand
your thoughts about Ant-Man, but but then, especially, like, the MCU has gotten to the point where I think a lot of, not just me, but I think a lot of people want them to go back and be like, like Avengers Infinity War, where they weren't afraid to say, all right, some of these people, you're not going to see them again. Mm-hmm. Or Infinity War and Endgame, where they were just like, all right, it's time to say goodbye to some of your favorite characters, because we're going to move on. And then, that's kind of what they're doing, but not really. But they should be, like, more darker like that. Like, it very much reminds me of, like, the end credit scene of Ant-Man 2, when they try out the machine and Scott goes in there and he gets stuck in there because Thanos snapped. So then he gets stuck in there. And you're just like, oh shit. Like, he's stuck. To then, in Endgame, he's able to get out. Thanks to a rat. But it's that kind of thing. Like, the movies, we've gotten to this point now where almost everybody that is watching them has grown up watching this whole universe. So a lot of them, the fact that it's over 10 years old, and in fact, I think next year, it's either next year or something like it. No, I'm sorry. Last year it turned 15.
Really?
It turned 15 years old. Yeah, because the first Iron Man came out in 2008.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. So it's already been 15 years have gone by, and your audience, or the people that have watched it since the beginning, have grown, and they're not afraid to, we're able to take shit. Like, it's like punches to the gut. Like, we can take more of Infinity War and Endgame, and especially if they're going to do stuff like that again, it keeps us driving back for more, because we grew up on these characters. We want to see, like, oh my god, what is going to happen? So there's literal, like, danger for these characters because we grew up watching them, or or whatever. And the fact they're basically brushing that off and just saying, oh, everything is just a goofy movie nowadays. It's like, don't do that, please.
Goofy movies? Stop.
I mean...
Disgusting.
I mean, even after, like, at Phase 4, it just, everything started becoming just goofy. And it was like, do you guys really care anymore? And... yeah, so I don't necessarily think that, like, if they don't do Captain Marvel, if that's truly what they're saying, like, Captain Marvel 3 and Ant-Man 4 are not going to happen. I think it's just because that it's not that I don't want to see another one. It's if they do another one, they do not need to do that, like, goofy shit again.
Mm-mm.
And, be more darker, especially if it's, like, Captain Marvel 3, where, it's the third movie. It should get, like, more darker as they go on. Because it's just like, all right, you've seen the progression of this character, and not just this, but, like, in some of the other movies. So you've seen this character go through all of this. So their separate movies should be more, like, darker, or just, like, more consequences, or in some cases, it's the last movie you'll see him in.
Right.
So I don't think that they don't necessarily need to do them. It's just, if they are going to do it, they just need to just change the fucking format. And basically, and also give the CGI animators more time. Don't rush them. Because
I agree with you.
I looked at
Mhm.
Quantumania and I'm just like, okay, a lot of this looks okay. And then I saw what MODOK looks like, and I just went, nope. And that's another thing is, okay,
Yep.
there's a lot of characters in the Marvel universe, in the Marvel comics, that do not belong in live action. MODOK is one of them. Because he looks like Humpty Dumpty had an upgrade.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, he
this,
does
no.
look like Humpty Dumpty. People were saying he also looked like George Lopez in the Lava Girl and Shark Boy movie.
I can see that. Yeah. So it's just like, wow, we're just going back to like stupid kids movies from, yeah, like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, even back to like something like Spy Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, this is just kind of dumb, but it's for kids. This is not. What are you doing?
Yeah, we're not kids. Like, we didn't ask for
Yeah,
freaking George
we're
Lopez again.
we're like Fisher Price. We're big kids now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, I don't know what Marvel is planning, but you know, I I know I've said it a couple times here, but I was just like, I've kind of lost interest. Now the interest is kind of dwindling a little bit. But I am excited about the upcoming X-Men 97 one, because it will feel like a continuation of the original X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
Right.
But did you
I
hear
mean,
about that?
yeah.
Did you hear
I
about the
did hear about it, but I'm not too fully informed about it. I heard about it.
Okay, did you hear about the creator? What happened?
Mm-mm. No.
This just shows that we can't have nice things. So
Oh
this
boy.
was like a couple of weeks, I think it was like a week ago or something like that. But Marvel ended up firing the creator because of something of like OnlyFans or something like that. And I'm just like,
Oh.
okay, like we can never have nice things. Like even when we have like the resurrection of one of the greatest, you know not just one of the best cartoons of the 90s, but like one of the best superhero cartoons. And this shit comes out, it's like, ugh, we can never have anything nice. It's like we never can. It's like how I felt about like when it was announced that Teen Titans was coming back.
Oh
I was
my
just like,
God.
"Oh,
Don't
this is
even
so
get me.
cool! Like it's so cool, they're coming back." And yeah, it was like when it was announced that Teen Titans Go was happening, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I heard that it was the original voice actors. I'm like, "Awesome! They're bringing them all back." Then I saw the animated style, and I went, "Okay." Like maybe if the writing is there, I can look past the animation. Much like what I did with Rick and Morty, I don't really like the animation, but the writing is just so funny. I'm like, okay, I
Hmm.
can give that a pass. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe I could do that with the Teen Titans Go. I saw the first couple episodes and I went, what the hell? It's like, what is this?
Butt
And
cheeks. That's what it was. Butt
yeah,
cheeks.
it looks cheap. And the fact that that show is still on to this day just eats me up inside. And then I know a lot of people were saying like, well, after the third season of the original show, it's kind of like it started dwindling. It's just like, man, it wasn't. You may think that was bad, but look at Teen Titans Go. You want to just compare Teen Titans Go to apparently seasons 3 through 5 of Teen Titans, because apparently like people were saying like it started out great and then it just kind of started dwindling. It's just like, man, after watching Teen Titans Go, those last few seasons of Teen Titans, that was Casablanca, that was Gone with the Wind, that was Citizen Kane compared to that. It's like, don't you fucking
Stop.
say that again.
No.
It's like, don't do that. So, yeah, it's just, we can never have nice things.
No.
It just can never
I never.
happen. Just, I hate it. Um, you know, I even saw this picture where it was cartoons when or yeah like cartoon animation from our childhoods, and it was giving us like Teen Titans, it was giving us Curse Cowardly Dog, it was giving us Adventure Time.
Uh-huh.
It was like all these different animated styles, and it was like, that's super cool. And then the bottom one, it was animation style today, and it was the same like character outline that you just easily just like copy and paste, and then boom, you got a new character. But they all look the same. It's like, oh my god. Like that is just lazy now that I see that.
That is extremely lazy. I don't know how they got away with that. I don't know.
Yeah. So,
But
yeah.
mhm.
Like, cartoon, like, I remember when I was a kid, and at night, I would maybe have like an hour left until bedtime. And I remember when Boomerang was around, like it was Cartoon Network.
Right.
Yeah, they owned it. But Boomerang was, they would play like all like the old classic cartoons, like the Looney Tunes, the Jetsons, Tom and Jerry, the Flintstones. And then throughout the day, they would play like all those like other shows that they would run, like, you know, like Johnny Bravo, even like Dexter's Laboratory. So like all the cartoons that we grew up, but every night they had a segment called Boomer Action. And it was, they would play like Johnny Quest, they played Ben 10, they played Teen Titans. It was just super cool the way they did it. Now they're just playing the reruns of all their stupid, idiotic shows. Like, I barely see, like, you know, like Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry being played anymore. Luckily, they're both on streaming, so I can just watch it that way.
Right.
But, yeah, like, when we were kids, it was awesome. Nowadays, it sucks.
It really does suck. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's sad. It's and especially like my little brother, the Boomerang he grew up with was the one I was just describing. Like, it was just a rerun of all their shows, and I'm just like, dude, when I grew up, it was not like this. It was way cooler. So like, even like, you know, like Nickelodeon back when we were kids, yeah, they would have the occasional sitcom, but at times there was cleverness to it. Now it's just all freaking stupid, and I hate it. And did you hear about what was that one? It was that sitcom that Nickelodeon did. It was like the family, but they were all superheroes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
What
I just
what
forgot the
was
name. I know
that
what you're
called?
talking
Hold on, I think the internet knows. Because the internet always knows. The Thundermans.
There you go.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Paramount Plus is bringing that back.
Well, nobody wants it though.
Exactly, because it sucked.
Exactly. That's why
Yeah,
nobody.
but I've heard it. I think it's like a Paramount Plus movie, I think. But,
Okay.
and I'm just going like, the reason why they're doing this is because none of the actors can find more work. Because I'm really thinking about it. I'm going like, I don't think I've seen these actors on anything other than this. And that's another thing about, you know, if you get into the business and you're a child actor, you're basically typecasted that way. And then once you get old enough where you can no longer pass for a child or even a teenager at that fact, they will like throw you at the curb. And just like,
That is
no,
how that
you're
works.
done. So you have to have an out, which is how, like, you know, say what you want about her career, but it's how like Ariana Grande was able to get out of Nickelodeon. She had a music career, so she's followed up on that. And then it's not until recently where she's like kind of getting back into acting, like in the new Wicked movie, which, you know, we'll just
Yeah, I know how you feel about it. Yes, I know.
But like there was also like Neil Patrick Harris. He was he played Doogie Howser, and then he was able, as he grew up, he was able to find work like like Starship Troopers or like Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, to then eventually How I Met Your Mother, which pretty much put him back on the spot and said like, hey, he's, yeah, he was a great child actor, but he's also a great, adult actor. And I would say like the most recent would probably be Jenna Ortega, because
Right.
she did Disney stuff for a while, and she was able to find an out, and she's now been doing like almost every single horror movie nowadays.
But I mean, she's doing great,
And
to be
she's
fair.
great at it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when you're a child actor, you're pretty much almost kicked to the curb. That's why like on Nickelodeon, you really, nowadays you really can't find a whole lot of them, because they basically said, yep, doing that was just tough and I don't want to do this anymore. Or they were basically treated like shit, like with another thing that I have here, like if you worked under Dan Schneider, you're basically treated like shit. And,
Oh,
yeah, you've been hearing about that lately.
I have been. Mm-hmm.
God,
Who hasn't, to
man,
be honest?
it's so sad, because all the shows that he did were the sitcoms that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, from like, yeah, God, there was like, I didn't really watch Zoe 101 because I was more into Drake and Josh.
It was Zoe went on was more of like a chick thing, no?
Yeah, it was that too. But yeah, you had like Zoe 101, and then even that had backlash because that show had to stop because God, what it was Spears.
Oh,
Britney Spears.
Jamie Lynn Spears?
Yes, Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie Lynn.
Because
There
she
you
got
go.
pregnant.
That is, I'm not gonna laugh at that, but that is
Yeah,
crazy.
she had to leave the show because she got pregnant, and basically everybody in the world just went, "We're done with you." And
Well,
then,
yeah. I mean, that's a bad image for kids to find out that your favorite star got pregnant.
and
So,
then, yeah, Drake and Josh, all the weird stuff that's going on about them too. Which it's just odd, because I feel like with the two of them, there's something missing. Because Josh likes to say like, "Oh yeah, we were never friends." I said this, and then when it was revealed, like, "Oh, you guys hung out here, you hung out with this, you were at a party, you spent Christmas together, you did this, you did this, you did this," and then there was especially like the MTV Video Music Awards, that whole thing, where the first interaction that Josh did with Drake was he literally had his camera out and like jumped behind him, and it was just like, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" And then he did an interview like a couple years later, I think, where he basically said that he went up to him, like when I saw him, I went up and said like, "Yeah, you need to apologize to his wife," because there was something going on. And I'm like, dude, you literally pulled a camera out and literally just ran up behind him, and that didn't happen. So like, there's something going on with that that's just like, we're not getting the full piece of the puzzle here. We have some of it, but there's pieces that are missing, and we're just like, where is it? Because it's just like something's not adding up.
exactly.
It's like they have this weird relationship where it's like they like each other at one point, and then the next minute they don't. It's like both of them are like Two-Face. One is one way, and then when the other one decides to take over, then something else happens, and then it just goes back to being normal for a little bit, and then it switches again. So it's just this weird thing that's just going on. But yeah, then all the allegations about Dan Schneider, like, did you hear about the documentary that they're doing called Quiet on Set?
I have heard about that one, yeah,
Yeah.
for all the victims and stuff.
Yeah, E! News says, from bullying to sexual assault, Quiet on Set explores Nickelodeon's dark side, including the disturbing allegations brought against Dan Schneider. Yeah, I mean, there's been like numerous allegations where he had like co-stars like send pictures of their feet to him. Yeah, he's been abusive.
Ew.
He's been abusive on set. I think I saw this one video where he actually took it himself, where they were filming. I think it was probably iCarly, and they were filming at like 1 a.m. And it's just like, yeah, okay, they're still considered kids, and they gotta like yeah, because that's the other thing. Like, if you have a kid on set, you need their parents there, and like, like all this stuff, and yeah, it's just he's a very odd duck, and yeah, it's just been really weird, and it kind of feels like all of our kind of like like creators where we're just like, we watched all your stuff, they're getting hit. So like, yeah, like there's Dan Schneider, and then I remember like some years ago, like John Lasseter, who was Pixar, he got hit with something, but I remember an interview with Henry Selick, who did Nightmare Before Christmas. He said he used to work at Disney with John Lasseter. That's actually where him and Burton met, was because Tim Burton was also working at Disney. To then Burton went off and said like, hey, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing, and was able to do like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and then do Beetlejuice, and then eventually do Batman, which then put him on the map. But he said that Selick said that Lasseter was very much like a creepy guy. And it's like,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then I remember like, yeah, I think it was around the same time when Stan Lee got hit with something. And I was just like, oh boy, like no one is safe anymore. But I think that was a weird one too, because I don't think we heard both sides of the story on that one.
No, we did not.
But I know with the Dan Schneider thing, we are hearing, a lot of things about it. And basically, a lot of people coming out saying like, "Oh yeah, it's true." Like, yeah, he was an ass. And so, yep. No, it's weird seeing our childhood kind of slipping away, and then we like to go back and rewatch our childhood because we're just like, yeah, God, we gotta revisit our childhood, and then just don't think about anything after it.
Well, I mean, sometimes you can just look at it and you're just like, oh, well, whatever, it's fine. But then it's not fine when everything comes out. But, you just kind of have to admit that they kind of did make a lot of good movies, regardless of the allegations. As a director, they did really well. Mm-hmm. From there, you can't really support the person that, especially not Dan Schneider. I feel like Dan Schneider really did do a lot of bad stuff, apart from...
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I say about like a lot of directors, like even like Stanley Kubrick. Like, I like his movies, I don't like him as a person, because yeah, if you hear like a lot of things about like the Shining, he was an asshole. He was, and then same thing with like Alfred Hitchcock. The master of cinema himself. He was a dick. And yeah, he was especially a dick towards his actresses.
Wow.
Yeah. If you like listen to The Burbs, you listen to what he did on Psycho, it's just like, yeah, you're just an asshole. So there's like tons of that. I'm just like, I don't support the person as a person. They are like visually, they are key to cinema, but as a person, they suck. And so, it's a lot of like, like actors too, like even like Christian Bale, he's a great actor, but I've heard he's kind of a pain in the ass. And it was just like, yeah, same thing with like Edward Norton. He's a great actor, but a lot of people came out saying like he's a pain in the ass. So it's just like, all right, you need to have some juicy fruit gum and just cool down, dude.
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, so that's what it's all about. I mean, I really wish that there was more of like like family environment towards making movies, because yeah, you're working with these people for you know months, even like some years even. And so it's good to get to know them and try to establish a connection with them, not to
Mm-hmm.
basically spit in their face or like do that kind of shit. It's just like, don't do that. you know so yeah, even like something I what I love is a lot of horror movies, the sets are great, because a lot of um um like I've heard that a lot of people working in like on horror stuff are actually
Mm-hmm.
some of the nicest people, because yeah, it's like they're getting their demons out by making these movies. And so they're getting like all the fear and anger that they feel inside, they're getting that out through making these horror movies. And they're just a nice person. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a set photo where like like a kid actor is hugging like a giant um like somebody in like like a demon, like who looks like a demon. They're hugging them and they have a smile on their face, and they're not scared at all. So it's like, I even when I it did you see any like behind the scenes stuff for the It?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
like literally, like
Yeah.
like Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise was giving them high fives. He was like, making sure that they were okay, after like a scene, and they all were just like, "We're fine, we're totally good." Like, yeah, like my favorite one was he was going up to each of the kids and high fiving them, and saying, "You guys ready to kick my ass?"
Oh my God.
And they're just like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it was just that environment. So yeah, they like weren't like on screen, they were able to be scared, but off screen, they were just totally hanging out. And there was another one where I think it was on chapter 2. I love this. I love this photo. It's of Bill Hader and
Mm-hmm.
Bill Skarsgård talking, and you just see Skarsgård laughing, but he's looking like Pennywise. So it's just like, that just looks hilarious. And then
Nice.
and then Hader said like, yeah, he's just an incredibly nice guy, but when he's playing the character, he's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's just crazy. So yeah, like I wish more films were like that. Like like another example is for like one of my favorite directors is or I think he's probably my favorite director, which is John Carpenter. He loved to like make sure that everybody was okay. Everybody was pitching in. He made sure that there was no egos involved at all. And there was, I think he said twice on two of his movies, the screenwriters were actually trying to rewrite the main actress's stuff to make them more of an
Mm-hmm.
idiot, because they didn't like the actress they had. So he went up to the screenwriters and was just like, "Don't do that. Like, what are you doing?" So he was very much like protective of them. And
Um,
I saw this interview where it was an actor who's worked with him a couple of times, he said like on one of the movies there was a power struggle between him and some of the producers, and then he just dropped everything and said, well, I'll be in my trailer once you guys want to do my movie. So then he went
Oh,
into his trailer and stayed in there until, everyone realized like, oh wait, that's right, it's his movie. To then, yeah, just blink, like right back on.
oh my God.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's really funny though.
It's funny, but it's just kind of like, it's one of those like simple things where it's just like, all right, well, if you need me, like if you want me to do my movie, I'll be in there, and you guys can't do it because I'm doing it. So like, I'll be in there if you need me. So then, yeah, he did it, and he just sat in there and waited for a little bit, and then they eventually came to their senses, and they're just like, yeah, we're sorry, go ahead and do your job. Yeah, it's just that simple. But yeah, it's movie sets need to be like a weird family. That's one of the things what I like when like a movie or TV show or whatever, and it's about a team. They're not really. I would like to see them as like weird families in a way, which is why I loved the dynamic in the original Teen Titans show, because you were like, yeah, they're a team, they're teammates. But then every once in a while they got more personal and they started becoming like a really weird family. Like it, like I love there's so many episodes in that, like the episode when Starfire's sister shows up and like almost replaces her. There's the moment at the end where Robin just said like, look, she can't take your place because no one is going to take your place because you belong here. We care about you. So it's like this just nice, like little humble, like family moment.
Yeah, which is why I really like the old Teen Titans, because there was always something really nice about that. And, it was very like, I guess, more teenish, because Teen Titan Go really was more like, here's Teen Titans, but if it was for like a baby that can't understand what's going on.
Yeah, for babies who can't put their diapers on the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
anyways,
like there was another one where, God, it was I think Raven was like distancing herself away from them because she was dealing with her own shit. And then at the end, she then realized like, yeah, I need them, and yeah, it was just this little moment that I loved where I think it was Beast Boy came to check up on her, and she opened the door and ran and hugged him. And it was just like, what the hell was that? Like, you've never seen that. Because it was
no,
like,
you've never.
Yeah. And I love that it's a little moment, but it was just like a shot of Beast Boy's face. Even he was shocked. He was just like, this has never happened. What is going on? But then that was kind of that like, weird family dynamic that show had, and that's what I love. So like, it's not just for like movies and TV shows, it's a team and they are like a weird family. Movie sets should be the same thing. Like, yeah, they're a team, but it would feel like a weird family. It would be basically a family if everyone was adopted. It's
basically,
like, yeah, we're not really related, but we all care for each other. So yeah. So yeah, but yeah. Now the Oscars. So, did you end up watching this year's Oscars?
I did. It was kind of on and off because I was working.
Yeah, see, I
Slightly.
didn't.
I didn't.
No. Yeah, well, let's see. Oppenheimer led with 13 nominations and won 7. Poor Things received 11 nominations.
Okay.
Killers of the Flower Moon had 10. Yeah. Oppenheimer won a leading 7 awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. Other major winners were Poor Things for 4 awards and The Zone of Interest with 2. The films which went home with 1 award each include American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Boy and the Heroine, which we'll get into that in a minute because I have some words on that.
Oh,
the
okay.
Holdovers, and Godzilla -1. Okay, so I kind of thought that Oppenheimer was going to win Best Picture. I kind of had that set. Or it's just like, yeah, it's kind of a cheat shot. It's a cheap shot movie. Or it's just like, yeah, it's built right for the Academy, so I feel like this is going to win, and it did. It was cool to see Godzilla -1 win. I think it was visual effects. I think.
Yes, best visual effects.
That was cool. That was, even though I haven't seen that movie yet, that was the one I was going for in that category. Because I'm just like, that would just be super cool for them to win that.
And they did, which is great.
The Boy and the Heroine. Did you like
Heroine?
Yeah, whatever. Did you like how that movie stole the award away from Spider-Man?
I actually didn't. I was actually kind of 50-50 on it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, The Boy and the Heron was a good movie, but I don't know if I would have chosen it over Spider-Man. I don't. Well, I was kind of 50-50 on it, in my opinion.
The other thing too is that Into the Spider-Verse won the year that came out. So it was kind of like a, hey, wink, wink. So it was like leading a certain direction, and they just went, no. I mean, as much as I was hearing about that movie being really good, after I saw Spider-Man, I'm just like, yeah, no, this gets it. And even the guy who plays Miles agreed, saying like, no, Spider-Man should have won. So
I agree.
That sucked. So I was kind of irritated because I was just like, really, you're gonna choose that over this other one? But I was hearing so much about this movie, and people were saying like, oh, it's the best animated film of the year, and just like, yeah, that's just you, dude. And then there's some movies in there that I do want to see, like Anatomy of a Fall. Like, I did want to see that. The Holdovers winning Best Supporting Actress. I was very happy about that. I know you haven't seen it. If you ever get the chance to see it, it's very good. But God, what was her name? What was her name? Who won that? Divine Joy Randolph. Yeah, she was amazing in that movie. But I think one of the highlights was Robert Downey Jr. finally got a fucking Oscar.
He did?
Yeah, this was his first Oscar.
Everybody was very happy for him.
Yeah, the last time he was nominated was for Tropic Thunder, but Heath Ledger won that for Dark Knight.
I mean, Heath Ledger did really good in Dark Knight.
He was amazing. And so
he was amazing.
What I kind of thought was, I love how both Oppenheimer and Dark Knight were both Christopher Nolan. So I kind of have the sneaking suspicion that he felt bad for Robert Downey Jr. after that Academy Award and just said, hey, I already bought the Oscar for you. All you have to do is just be in this movie.
Help.
I bought the Oscar for you. Just be in my movie. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Downey Jr., he was great in Oppenheimer, but I have this like little feeling. I'm just like, yeah, he may have just felt bad for him. It was cool to see Emma Stone win another Oscar. That was cool.
Emma Stone is a really great actress. I'm not too sure what people give her shit for a lot of things. I think she's a really great actress. Mm-hmm. My opinion.
Well, so. she won for La La Land, and then that Oscars. Oh boy, that whole thing. But No, it was good to see her win again. Let's see who else is there. Uh, oh yeah. Was it Ludwig Göransson? He won his second Oscar for Oppenheimer for the score. The first time he won was for Black Panther. So yeah, that was cool.
Well, yeah, that was well deserved.
And then, every year the Oscars has to have a controversy. Every year, this one, I think it was how much Barbie got kicked to the curb. I mean, first off, you had, it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress, a lot of categories, not director. So just everyone got pissed off about that. And it was just like, it was like, okay, that's kind of stupid. And then it only won one for original song, and it was stupid because it didn't go to I'm Just Ken.
Yeah, I went for Billie Eilish's
song.
Yeah. What Was I Made For?
Yeah. Which was kind of like I kind of thought that Barbie was going to win that, like, anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Honestly, after seeing Ryan Gosling just say fuck it and just did it at the Oscars, it was just like, dude, come on.
I mean, he got some pretty good people to,
give him an Oscar right then and there, and just give him the Oscar right there. That's all you need to do. Yeah, and then best visual effects went to Godzilla -1, which
great.
Yeah, which the other movies in there was like The Creator, which that movie was gorgeous. Guardians Volume 3, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I personally would have kicked that one off because a lot of that movie is practical or is like stunt work. And yeah, visual, it's pretty much known, like, visual effects, it only goes to like CGI and computer effects. So for Mission Impossible to kind of be nominated for that, it's just kind of like okay. And then Napoleon, which I didn't think anybody was gonna say like let's just nominate that. But
I didn't see that movie. I saw it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, I haven't either. But yeah, so there's a bunch of movies here that I was like, I want to see it, like Anatomy of a Fall or even like Poor Things. Because people the way that it was pitched to me, it was basically people saying it feels like a Victorian version of Frankenstein if they were kind of on drugs. And you would get that movie.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just like, all right. I'm just like, okay. Do you know of a movie called The Favorite?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same director as that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've saw clips of The Favorite, and I'm just like, okay, this is really good. It's fucking weird, but it's pretty good from what I see.
It's a comedy thriller, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much like a dark comedy film.
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, I love my dark comedies. So I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of right up my alley.
I did quite like that it was like in the 18th century type of thing and not just like modern time horror, which made it a little bit better,
Like Saltburn?
Yeah. Yeah, let's not go there. That's that. I feel like that's just England in general. I don't know.
It's England, why are you so fucked up? No.
No.
England is not just like that. Come on.
Well. Anyways, moving on from that.
There was a lot there, and apparently it had its best ratings since I think they said 2020? Yes. The telecast drew 19.5 million viewers in the United States alone, becoming the most watched awards show since 2020. Which, when you think of it from afar, that's not bad. But if you look at it from an Oscars point of view, that's still kind of low. And, especially if you look at, like, the Academy Awards from, like, a decade ago. Granted, it was a decade ago, but when you look at it from, like, a decade ago, this is, like, very low. I mean, 19.5 million viewers, that's still pretty good. But, compared to, like, a decade where it had, like, hundreds of million watching it, it was like, this is just, it's not the same anymore. So,
No. You're right.
The Academy Awards, I kind of stopped watching it once COVID hit, mainly because, COVID affected everything. It affected everything, but the way that they decided to do the Academy Awards, that I think it was 2019, or maybe no, it was 2020. It was like half Zoom and half in person. It was like, what the hell is going on? And nobody watched it. No one watched it. And then I think it's, but also I think it was kicking itself in the ass a couple years before that when it was announced that Kevin Hart was going to do it, and then people, because they're idiots, brought up old tweets that he made, even like ones he apologized for anyway, like years prior. They're just like, we don't want you doing this, so we're going to bring this back up, even though he apologized it a while ago. We're still going to bring this back up. So then Kevin Hart's just said, I'm just not going to do it. To then the Oscars tried to do the whole hostless thing, which did not work at all.
No, it did not.
This is not good. Stop that. Just stop this. To then they tried doing it with hosts again, and then with 3 hosts, which one of them I liked, one I think is just okay, and the other one I hate with a fucking passion.
Listen. But I feel like they kind of let themselves get stepped on after COVID, and since they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, they really didn't.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Yeah, but a lot of the movies that won this year, I was kind of going, I kind of knew they were going to get it. So it was just it wasn't that like oh my god, I'm like so glad it did, but I mean I was shocked about it. There was none of that. It was just kind of like I kind of thought that was going to win, especially Oppenheimer swept this Oscars, because I was just going like, because that's pretty much the only movie that anybody's been talking about. And it fits the Academy mold. Like it's a period piece, and it's beautifully shot. So that they're gonna be at the feet. So it was just it fit right into the Academy's like frame. I was like, yep, they got it. It wasn't until last year's Oscars when Everything Everywhere All at Once just swept that thing, and I was so happy about it, because that's definitely a movie that would have definitely been overlooked. But just the Oscars is just, it's not the same anymore, and especially since the last couple of years, they've been trying to focus more on. They've started not televising some of the categories and just said, hey, look at what these celebrities are wearing. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about that. This is called the Academy Awards, not the Academy Fashion Show.
Well, I mean, I can understand to some extent some of the fashion, but after that, I'm like, why did you bring this here? You couldn't have just waited? to get invited to some fashion show or something to show off.
Yeah. It's just award shows are not the same anymore.
No,
That's
they
why I
really
stopped watching.
aren't.
Like hell, did you hear about this past Grammy, the Grammys, that
Mm.
Taylor Swift said like, hey Grammys, guess what? I'm doing another album, and just everyone was just like, really? Like this is not the fucking time for that. And I saw somebody tweet about that, and they said Taylor Swift is the kind of person that would announce her engagement at someone else's wedding. And I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
I 100% would agree with that sentiment. Yeah. Unfortunately, I actually don't like Taylor Swift. Like, I used to listen to some songs of hers, but it wasn't
Same.
like, oh, God, I'm such a Swiftie now. It wasn't like that. It was just a decent song that I liked.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah,
I mean, from there, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know.
to me. I don't hate her. She's very overrated to me. Where I'm just like, everybody's just saying like, oh my god, like she's got like all these amazing songs, and I'm like, okay, she does have like some like pretty good ones in there, but unfortunately, those ones are overplayed to hell. And I'm just like, I'm sick and tired of these damn songs. It's like that's the Alabama song, the bum bum dun 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 dun. What's that song?
Oh, damn it.
Damn, it's like something
I,
Alabama.
I know. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Well, the first couple times I heard it, I did like that song until it was overplayed as hell, and I was like, I don't like this song anymore. And
It's literally just called Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama. Thank you.
There you go.
It was one of those things where I was just like, I know it, but I can't like get the words out. But yeah, I was just like, okay, I don't care about the song anymore because it's been overplayed. And her songs, it's like her entire catalog is in that frame. It's in that category. Just like it's overrated as hell, and I'm just like, I don't really care anymore. You know?
Yeah,
And then
I feel that same
basically,
way.
yeah, and then
Hmm.
basically this past Super Bowl where like I was watching it, and then they had a camera on her the whole time because she was there. Because I guess she's dating one of the Chief players. I don't know what the hell's
Yeah.
going on with that, but every time when
Mm.
it was pretty much like every time when the Chiefs got a point, they cut to her. Then it turned into every time that it was the end of a play. Every time they snapped a pass, it then cut to her. And it's just like, stop that. Like, will you please stop that? Like, no one, like, I don't give a shit. Like, you're supposed to be focusing on football, but no, it's just like the whole thing was just hijacked by the whole thing of like, oh my god, Taylor Swift's dating a Chief player, isn't that great? I was like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. I don't care if she's dating someone that's in the Illuminati. I don't give a shit. Like,
And I feel
I
like
just
they
don't
really
care.
overhype her sometimes. I'm like, it's just Taylor Swift, bro. Like, who cares if she's dating a football player? Let me watch the fucking game. Even if I don't understand football. I felt like I couldn't even enjoy the halftime show because Taylor Swift was so, like, 80% of
Well,
the whole thing.
and I didn't even care for the halftime show because I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like, why are they on roller
Agreed.
skates? What is happening? So I was just like, yeah, I was just like, whatever. But whatever. But now that talked about the Oscars and want to just slip away from the whole Taylor Swift thing because don't want to freak out anymore. It was just something just so irritating. I'm just like, people. That was the only thing people were talking about, and I'm just like, there's other things to talk about. You know that, right? But yet you don't care. So yeah, whatever. But now going away from the Oscars, and we're going to be talking about a movie that is coming up pretty soon, or the sequel is coming up pretty soon. And that is Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Ooh.
See, I've been looking forward to this one.
When does it come out again?
As of this recording, this Friday.
Oh, okay. It's coming up real soon then.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the and also, did you know that Ghostbusters was nominated for some Oscars?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did see that.
It lost Best Original Song. It went to I would have been pissed off if it was probably another one, but it lost to Stevie Wonder, and I went, okay, you know what? That's okay.
It's Stevie.
It's Stevie Wonder. I'm good with it. But
Yeah.
here was the one that I was really pissed off about. It lost. It was in Best Visual Effects. It lost to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Bullshit.
Okay.
I call bullshit. That man, looking at
No way.
yeah, looking at both Temple of Doom and Ghostbusters, I'm like, Ghostbusters should have won for sure. I was like, this is bullshit. Like that's just the Academy messed up that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, no, I'm not taking that. And the fact that I'm just gonna say it now, and I haven't seen the fifth one. Currently, Temple of Doom is my least favorite Indiana Jones movie, but I'm just gonna zoom past that. It's just like, really, okay, whatever. But whatever. I don't care. I don't care. It's the Academy. It's a bunch of faceless people that don't see other movies. But that's just me.
I mean, fair enough. I'll give you that much.
So yeah, I don't care. It's not like I yell or scream at it.
Please.
It's not like I've done that before.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
okay.
But anyway, so the original Ghostbusters. I mean, I'm just gonna get this out of the way first. It's a "You Are God" for me. I'm just gonna get that out of the way first. But so, did you hear about the process of this movie getting made?
I did not.
Okay, so originally this was an idea conceived by Dan Aykroyd, and he comes from a family where it's very deals with supernatural stuff, and so it was originally called Ghost Mashers, where it was a bunch of guys who wore SWAT-like outfits and carried wands instead of the proton packs in the movie, and they were going through time to battle ghosts. But then when he brought it to the director, he said, okay, here's some things that I think would be much better. Keep the movie grounded to today. Not do the time thing. And let's come up with a different idea for instead of wands. Because this ain't Harry Potter. Even though Harry Potter wasn't invented yet.
Right.
And so then, they gathered everything together to then originally Winston was going to be played by Eddie Murphy. And Lewis was going to be played by John Candy. But they both passed on the project. Eddie Murphy said that he left that because he went to go do Beverly Hills Cop. And John Candy left, I think because he was committed to some other stuff and just couldn't do it, or didn't like something. I don't know what it was. But but what was going on was they wanted the name Ghostbusters, but unfortunately at the time there was a production company called I think it was Filmation, who had the rights to the name. So they were technically making a couple of movies at the same time.
Oh,
So they were making Ghostbusters, they were making Ghost Mashers, they were making Ghost Smashers. And thanks to the Netflix documentary series, I think it was The Movies That Made Us, or it was like the 80s, The Movies That Made Us. They talk about Ghostbusters, and this is what they said, that so yeah, there would be a take where they would say, we're the Ghostbusters, and then the next take would be, we're the Ghost Smashers. Then the next take, Ghost Smashers. So they're technically, because during the time when they were making the movie, the studio, which was, I think it was Columbia, they were trying to get the rights. And they just weren't, they were kind of fighting, they were kind of losing the battle to then, what got the name, how they were able to get the name was they were in the movie, in the third act, when they go out, they're outside of the Shandor building, and the crowd is saying Ghostbusters. Well, one of the producers was there, and he was hearing the crowd, and that was the first take that they did, and yeah, the whole crowd is shouting just Ghostbusters. He then finds a local payphone, calls the head of the studio, and says, "Dude, listen to this," and then. Yeah, he heard the crowd and said, "I don't care what it takes. We are getting the fucking rights. We are using the name Ghostbusters." So,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, and they were able to get it. And it was great. Another thing I didn't hear about until later is, did you hear that the song got sued?
No way. Like the theme song?
Yeah, it got sued. And here's
No
why.
way. Why?
Here's why. So, they went to Ray Parker Jr. pretty much at the last minute to make the song. And what happened was, if you listen to the Huey Lewis in the song "I Want a New Drug," it sounds kind of familiar. It kind of sounds the same.
Oh God, not this Katy Perry shit again.
Uh-huh. So then Huey Lewis sued Ray Parker Jr. for plagiarism. But I believe he lost.
Oh,
And
okay.
then in the 90s, Ray Parker sued him. And I believe he won. I don't remember what's going on there. But
Okay.
yeah. And I'm going like, okay, that's kind of stupid, but when I hear the Huey Lewis in the new song, I'm just like, okay, I can hear it. I can hear it. Because there's like guitar and it sounds very much like Ghostbusters. And I'm like, oh, I can hear it. All right. Now I see why he'd be upset.
I just pretend I didn't hear nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What are you talking about, bro?
Well, and honestly, I don't even really give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, Ghostbusters will overcome it. But then, some of the other people they got in here, like Sigourney Weaver, she really, at that point in her career, she was known for pretty much just being involved with horror stuff because it was Alien that put her on the map. And so everyone was looking at her like, hey, do you know you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And it was all horror. So she really wanted to be involved in comedy. So she wanted part in Ghostbusters. So, but at the end of it all, the director, Ivan Reitman, had her do an impression of the Terror Dog.
Mm-hmm.
So what she did is she got on the couch and pretty much sat on it like a dog about to pounce and growled at him. And it freaked him out that he said, okay, you got it. And I was just like, yeah, that and that's fine. That's totally fine. So, yeah. The original Ghostbusters, it's just a film that I love so much. I love with a passion. It's timeless. It's a classic. I can watch it any time, and it's like my happy place. There's a bunch of movies that are my happy place, but Ghostbusters, it not only was the movie that it opened my eyes to the world of the paranormal, but it also opened my eyes to the world of cinema. And yeah, I can't thank it enough for that. So, of course, this is getting a you are
You're
God.
God.
You know,
Yeah.
there's no other rating for it. And despite people's views saying like the series has changed over time, especially at 2, there's a reason for that. Because when the second movie came out, uh, so real quick, so the reason why Ghostbusters 2 took 5 years to get made is because they wanted to do a sequel right like immediately after this one. But the head of the studio at the time, because the head of the studio that did this one like left I think the same year or like the year after.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought in a new guy. That's how it changes. And that one didn't want to do another Ghostbusters movie. Instead, he wanted to put more money into more independent films. Unfortunately, from like 85 to 88, those movies bombed and the studio was losing money.
Bro.
So, the guy got fired. So then they brought in a new guy that said, "Okay, we'll do Ghostbusters 2 finally." Now, during that time, you had the real Ghostbusters cartoon. So now you had a whole bunch of kids that were, watching the cartoon. They had like all like the toys and all the merchandise and stuff like that. So the reason why, if you watch Ghostbusters 1 and then immediately go into Ghostbusters 2, the tones and humor are very different. The first one is very much kind of like feels more adult, and there's a lot more like adult situations in the movie. Where if you watch 2, it's like a lot more kid friendly. That's because of the cartoon, because they knew that kids were going to go see it. So they're just like, yeah, we gotta kind of please the little kiddies here. And I'm just like, I don't really care. But as much as people like to, shit on Ghostbusters 2, personally, I don't think 2 is as bad as people say it is. I can still watch 2, and I'm like, you know what? I still enjoy it. But, it wasn't until the 2016 remake happened.
Maybe we just ignore that one.
And
We
then
just
the series, and then the series, decided to come back and do it the correct way with Afterlife, and then now pretty soon we're gonna have Frozen Empire, which I'm very excited about.
Which I wish we could go see together, but we won't be able to. But
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, I've already started planning out when I'm seeing it, and now it's just gotta just get tickets for that. And yeah, so like I'm already prepping for that. But yeah, so I love this movie with a passion. It is my favorite movie of all time. It's the movie that showed me to the world of the paranormal, but also to the world of cinema and how just incredible movies can be. And yeah, I love this movie for that. So this is a you are God. Even though they ask the question, are you a god? According to my rating, fuck yes. So this actually works. It actually works out. And I also did want to ask, when was the first time you saw this?
the first one,
Yeah.
you're gonna laugh at me, but it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. Thanks so much for listening. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you watched it then, because yeah, it would be a pretty different reaction today. And I'd be like, "Oh, then you're getting over here and we are watching it."
I don't think you'd let me leave the house. I've watched all of them. I watched all of them except for that, remake that I don't really want to watch anyways. But I've watched all of them. I've watched all
You
of
don't
them.
need to. It's a piece of shit.
Exactly.
So you're saying
Exactly.
you've seen the good ones.
I've seen the good ones. I've seen all the good ones. It was actually funny because I watched the first and I was like, oh shit, now I gotta go. I think I rented all of them because they don't have them on any of the platforms. I don't think they did when I watched it. So I had to rent all of them on YouTube.
Well, money well spent.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
So, yeah. And then I haven't heard anything about Frozen Empire. I want to go into it like more blind because even though I've seen like all these snippets about it, I'm just like I don't want to hear anything. I just want to go into it just with my own thoughts. Are my expectations high? Absolutely. But I'm trying to keep it lower. But it's incredibly hard when they're doing a sequel to your favorite franchise and the first one is your favorite movie of all time. To keep your expectations low, that's very very hard to do.
I agree.
But yeah, I saw this when I was like 6 or 7. And there was probably some scenes where I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have saw that at my age, but I saw a lot of things when I was like 6, 7, or 8 that I probably shouldn't have watched at that point, and I'm just like, I wasn't scared by that. Like even like this or like even like Poltergeist. Yeah, I was never scared by that. The only thing that scared me in that movie was that fucking clown doll. But other than that, like even though there's a scene in the movie where a tree comes to life and almost eats the kid. The kid goes flying through the portal and is then stuck in the TV. And then also you can't remember the scene where the guy starts tearing his face apart. Yeah, even all that, I was like, I'm fine. Like to be honest, the tree scene I thought was silly. I thought it was silly.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, wait, what the fuck? Like now a tree's come to life? What? Like okay, like whatever. And then especially the face scene. Even when I was a little kid, I was able to pick apart continuity, and yeah, the fact that it turns from like makeup all of a sudden to like a clear prosthetic head, like eyes aren't looking the same way. And yeah, I was just like, yeah, that looks really bad. So even when I was
smarter.
Yeah, so even when I was a kid, I was able to pinpoint that kind of stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's okay. So yeah, like my parents were just like, oh my god, are you so scared? I'm just like, no, I can see what that is. So yeah, it's just like it just went away from me. Yeah, this was the same way. I mean, I have a friend of mine that nothing scares her, and oh my god, going to Halloween Horror Nights was the best. So it was me, my dad, and a friend, and we let her go first because it wasn't because we didn't want to. It was because everyone would jump out at her, and she'd be the kind of person where if somebody tried to jump out and scare her, she would laugh at them.
Their poor ego. Imagine not trying to scare someone and they're just like,
yeah. So at Halloween Horror Nights, we went through some of these mazes, like they had the Ghostbusters one, which was awesome, by the way. Yeah, like all these things were jumping out at her, and she's like, ha ha ha. And that was not only my first time going to Halloween Horror Nights, but it was also I knew my dad and our friend went before, and my dad would tell me like, yeah, they jump out at her, and then she would just laugh. And I'd just be like, yeah, right. And then I saw it. So every time that it happened, I would just look behind me, and my dad was walking behind me. I just look at him like, wow, you weren't kidding. And he was like, yep. So like there's a part where in the maze, one of the terror dogs jumps out at you. Well, it jumped out at her and she went, "Doggy!" And I was just laughing. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So, it was fun. Oh,
That sounds fun.
yeah. It depends on, after they jump out, I immediately knew when to, like, cross. Like, quickly cross. It's just like, just go. But,
Just go.
But I didn't care because they jumped at her, and I'm just looking at their reaction. Like, I remember some of them, after they were trying to jump her, she was laughing at them, and they would just stop and just kind of stare at me. Like, just be like, what? Like, that didn't get them? And I would give them, like, I don't know. Like,
don't look at me, bro.
Yeah, like, don't look at me. Yeah, I would just be like, sorry, you scared the wrong person.
She's not easily scared at all.
Nope.
Oh boy.
It was a blast. But yeah, doing the Ghostbusters one there was just so cool. Because it felt like you were walking through the whole film.
Yeah.
So, like, there was a part where you walked through the Sedgwick Hotel, you walked through the firehouse, which was super cool. And yeah, it was just like all these things were there. It was just like, that's super cool. So yeah, and then I think you know this, but Hasbro came out with a they have this, like, certain service called Hasbro, I think Hasblab.
Hasblab,
It was something like that, but it's basically like a Kickstarter thing they do. It's their own version of Kickstarter, and they came out with an actual proton pack. An actual, like, I think it was like $400, like $400 proton pack. That's completely made of plastic, but it turns on. It has sound effects from everything, and it's actual like full size too. It's not like one of those stupid blow up ones you get at a Halloween store because they're cheap. No, this one actually, like, has everything. Yeah, I bought one, and it's I have it sitting here at my house. And I'm just looking at it going like, yeah, you're just plain awesome.
Say thank you for being here.
Yeah, and then another thing too is that they have another. It was a proton pack, but it didn't come with the actual proton wand.
Okay.
They sold that separately, but they said that it works with it. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I immediately bought the proton wand separately, and it itself is pretty cool. But it actually, it hooks up with the proton pack, and I was like, dude, this thing just got more awesome.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So I have it, and then whenever, next time when you come over here, I will be showing it off.
Okay. I am 100% down for that. And just know that date is being chosen as we speak.
Yay. Yeah. Yeah, and another thing too is I believe when you come out to visit, that I think that we'll be doing a show live, like in the same room. So, yeah, looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that too.
There you go. There's a sneak peek of an upcoming episode. So, there you go. It's not just on Discord. But moral of the story is, Ghostbusters is my favorite film of all time. I love it to bits. No other film is going to top it. Believe me, dozens have tried, and it just won't happen. So this is a You Are God.
Yep. I'll give it the same. I'll give it the same rating. If it could make me watch the whole entire series in one sitting, then it's definitely a You Are God.
Nice. Well, you should have... Let's just say if you and I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife together, I would have been... You would have like been like, wow, that was pretty good, and then you just glance over at me, and I would be bawling my eyes out.
You, unless it was a really bad movie, then I think you'd just be really angry. But I'm gonna just assume that you're gonna be bawling your eyes
Oh
out.
no, I'm saying that because I was.
Oh, you were.
I was actually like, it was crying to the point when it was it was a bit embarrassing.
Oh,
Yeah, like seriously, because because the thing with Afterlife is that it was like, we're coming back to this, and it was like, if you are a diehard fan, this is for you. I just loved it. Like, yeah, I think there was actually one time, like one point in the movie, I think it was like when the credits were rolling, I was so, I was so like just happy that it was tears of joy that I was feeling. It wasn't because tears that was like, no, they fucked up my series. It was like, oh my god, they made me happy.
mm.
Yeah, like I think I actually like my my little brother like had to like hold my head or something because I was crying that much. Like it
Dang.
was at
Okay.
that point. It's like I said, like if you and I were here, like yeah, if we saw that together, man, you would have. I think you would have had your phone out and been like, "This is the only time I've seen him cry." And he's,
And will be the only single time,
I don't know.
I
I
think.
don't know.
I don't know about that.
Maybe.
Actually, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like, I mean, it, yeah. I mean, with Schindler's List, every time I watch that movie, I cry because it's just so depressing and just so sad. This one
Yeah.
was I'm just so happy. Where with that movie, it was just so depressing. It was just like, oh my god, the fucking humanity of it all. This was just like, I was just so fucking thrilled. So yeah. So we'll see if Frozen Empire can top that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But uh, but yeah, like I said, I'm already planning to see that, and it it will be the week it comes out.